Hello and welcome to the West Point Lake Update. I'm your host, Park Ranger Steven Rector with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. We have a great show planned for you today, so stay tuned after this short break. Hello and welcome back. Joining me now is Laura Jennings, Tourism Director with the Troop LaGrange Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the show, Laura.
Thank you.
Not too long ago, you kind of made an announcement that there was kind of a large event coming here to West Point Lake in May. Could you tell us a little bit about that event?
Sure. The Powerboat Super League is coming. We've kind of renamed it the LaGrange Grand Prix, LaGrange Powerboat Grand Prix, I'm sorry, and it'll be on West Point Lake at Pine Road Park, Mother's Day weekend, May 9th through the 11th. And they had one last year in Knoxville and had 40,000 people show up.
My goodness.
And so we don't really know what to expect.
So May 9th through 11th, I imagine one of those days is probably going to be practice and then maybe some heat races, and then Sunday would be the big kind of...
Friday afternoon from like 3 to 6, the pit area will be open. People can look at the boats, meet the drivers, and then there will be also some test drives, if you will. They'll be practicing. And then on Saturday, it'll open up at 10 o'clock. And again, they'll do some practicing, and then at 1 o'clock, the races will start. And the same thing happens on Sunday. Morning time practices, and then the races start around 1. It goes from 10 until 6 on Saturday, and then on Mother's Day, Sunday, 10 until 5. And there's no admission charge, no parking fee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's exciting.
So it's a completely free event.
Yes.
So you can go into Pine Road Park. There'll be parking close by.
Yes.
For people who are interested in viewing from the water, are they going to be able to use any of the boat ramps there at Pine Road Park?
Pine Road Park's boat ramp will be closed, but of course, you know, we have numerous accesses on our lake, and so they just can put in somewhere else. And yes, they'll be able to watch from the water. There'll be a buffer zone around the racetrack, and so yes, they'll be able to watch.
I'm sure this is an event that you put a lot of work into bringing here. Can you tell me a little bit of the backstory about how you got in contact with the folks running the Super League?
Well, it's a long story and a short story. First of all, a couple years ago, Sam Weiner with Powerboat Super League in West Virginia contacted me about having one of these. At that time, we were saving our money to have a Bassmaster Elite tournament, and so we did not have the funds to do it. And so he did not follow up or contact me again. And then out of the clear blue, but right before Thanksgiving, I got a call that they were interested in having their first event, their first race of the season here in LaGrange. And they came down, and we've been working with them ever since, and struck a deal just actually a couple weeks ago. So it's kind of a short notice thing, if you will. So, you know, it probably will grow into an even bigger and better event. This year is almost a science experiment.
So this is going to be their first race of this racing season?
Yes.
That's going to be exciting.
Yes,
there's going to be so many people who've not been on the water all winter long. They're excited to get racing.
Absolutely.
It's kind of be like their Daytona 500.
Yep, and the drivers come from Canada, the Midwest. They come from all over the nation. It's a very expensive sport. So most of these people have other people drive in their boats.
Oh,
and
wow.
they'll fly into the Atlanta airport and then come down. So it's a very expensive sport.
Does this draw a lot of spectators into the area from maybe outside the Troup County
That's
area?
our hope. That is, you know, certainly because we want people to spend the night and spend the weekend in our wonderful hotels. So on Friday night, the 9th, we'll have a big street party with a battle of the bands, 3 cover bands and then 3 original bands.
And
that'll be on the square, right in front of Mansewers. There is the chance that Mansewers might be being demolished at that point, and so it'll move down toward Bull Street, but it'll be in that general area. And then the rain day is the next day, Saturday night, the 10th. But that'll be exciting. So we're hoping people will come in on Friday, spend the night at the hotel, go to the party, and then go out for the day on Saturday or Sunday.
Events planned for almost all over town. I mean, you've got the races going on there at Pine Road Park. Then you've got a block party going on Town Square. I mean, you're kind of drawing people out all over the place.
That's right, yeah. And I think also we'll get a lot of national coverage. We're going to have Romesburg Media cover the event and make a 30-minute TV show about the races, and they talk up our community in West Point Lake quite a bit. Contractually, we have that written into the contract that they would talk about the community. They're going to do a lot of beauty shots of the area. And so I think that will be a great way to illuminate West Point Lake beyond the race itself.
And you had mentioned that you were going to have some maybe cable airtime on another channel as part of that deal as well?
Yep, we will. And of course, we are having a live remote from a radio channel. And so, yeah, there's a lot of interest in this.
So, I mean, that sounds like we're going to be gaining a lot of exposure for West Point Lake and the Troop LaGrange area through
and that's what we want.
This one race.
Yep.
You had mentioned earlier that you were having the block party, that there was a lot of things going on in Pine Road Park. Is there going to be refreshments or food stands or anything in Pine Road Park during the race times? Or do people need to bring things in, or are they prevented from bringing in
such a good question.
And things?
They can bring in coolers, no problem.
Okay.
But there will be. We're going to have, food trucks are kind of the hot thing right now.
Right.
So we're going to have an area with food trucks. We'll have everything from shaved ice to, for example, a company here in LaGrange called On a Roll that makes fabulous sandwiches, French fries, homemade potato chips. So we're going to have many food trucks. We've got one coming in from Peachtree City called Grazing Here, and they have organic beef hamburgers and grass-fed beef. So so we're going to have that. We're not going to have a lot of entertainment, bands and that sort of thing. It's more just enjoying the day, bring a blanket, bring chairs, almost more like a tailgating kind of experience, except without your tailgate.
I can imagine that with these power boats, I'm just picturing that they would be fairly loud, and that would kind of prevent other entertainment from really being very successful, just with the competing noises.
Yeah. You could have entertainment like between the practice period, that hour before the races start and that sort of thing. And but yeah, there's some noise associated with it.
This sounds like a fantastic event. From what I'm understanding, no charge to go into Pine Road Park. You can bring basically anything in that you want to bring. You can bring your cooler if you want to bring food, bring a blanket.
Yep.
You don't have to visit the food trucks. It sounds like on top of that, you can then go to the square and enjoy a free Battle of the Bands concert. Yep. I mean, this just sounds like a weekend that, why would you miss it?
That's exactly right.
There's no cost. You see something that, has there ever been, I can't remember a powerboat race on West Point Lake in the past. Has there been?
No, a long, long time ago apparently they had some. I saw that, but no, not in anyone's recent memory. And a lot of people have called saying that wherever they've lived before, down in Florida or whatever, they have seen these and just love them. So I think this might have a broader appeal than just the Bassmaster Elite tournaments we've had.
This sounds like one of those things that you cannot miss. There's not been a powerboat race on this lake in many, many years. I mean, I don't remember when the last one would have been. There's great entertainment. There's all sorts of things to do. They're going to be able, visitors can walk around through the pits, and you had mentioned visit with the drivers and see the pit crews and how they're working on all their boats.
That's right.
Just sounds like a great event. I imagine there's still a lot of work for you to do on the event, though.
There are. Well, it's mainly I've got a huge learning curve. I mean, I've just never experienced this. There's F2 and F3 boats which have outboard motors, and they will they get lifted on a forklift, and then they're checked underneath to make sure nothing has been done to make them go faster. And then they are trailered in the mega ramp and just launched like you would launch a regular boat. But then there's the inboard boats that have, of course, the engine inside, and those have to be lifted via crane into the lake and then brought to a dock for the driver to get into it. So we have a temporary dock coming to Pine Road Park. We'll use, of course, the mega ramp and dock there for the outboards, but the inboards will go to this temporary dock. So it's a big production.
It is a big production. I should have asked a little earlier, though, with all of this work that's going to be needed, you're going to have to bring in a crane, you're going to have to bring in a temporary dock. Is there going to be any additional closures of Pine Road Park prior to the advertised dates of the race? I mean, are they going to be able to put that in on, because I think you had said Thursday through Sunday of Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah, it's Friday through Sunday. They'll probably come in a couple days, but what we try to do, even with the Bassmaster, we try to let people still use the mega ramp up until, and that really won't be interfered. The crane will be over by the temporary dock, and it won't come in until Friday.
Okay, so it won't really impact
no.
fishermen or boaters who are interested in coming out.
It will close the mega ramp that weekend, but that's it.
Okay,
Friday through
I
Sunday.
just wanted to make that clear in case people had a little bit of question about, it's getting close, can I go over there, do I need to go somewhere else?
Yeah.
But absolutely, they will not be able to use the mega ramp during the races.
No.
So they will need to launch at one of the adjoining parks.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, this is going to be the first year for the Powerboat Super League here. Is this something we kind of hope can be a repeat event, or are we still kind of just feeling it out to see how it goes?
I think feeling out is the right description. The company, Powerboat Super League out of West Virginia, wanted us to sign a 3-year contract, but we countered and asked to just have a 1-year contract because it's such an unknown. We don't know what the response and turnout will be. We don't know if it's compatible with what we want to do at the lake. So it's an experiment for us this year. But they are blown away by the venue of Pine Road Park. It's probably the best venue of all the venues that they ever go to. Could not have been more complimentary. And we know that about Pine Road Park. It's an awesome venue.
You have been able to put some fantastic events on it at Pine Road Park. So it's sort of has a history of being able to hold those types of events and hold very successful events there.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that we have another group that is excited to come in here and put on an event for our local population. Hopefully we can draw some tourists from outside the area to this event as well.
Yes, that is the primary goal, is to fill our hotels.
As more information becomes available on this event, where can people go to hear any kind of updates or changes, or maybe they just want to read a little bit more about what this Super League is about?
We have a Facebook page, Visit LaGrange. Okay. And I would ask people to like that because that will have the most current information. For example, if it rains, it's going to be a rain or shine event, but if it rains, people might want to know, where the race is delayed an hour or whatever. Okay. So that would probably be the best place. And then also we'll probably put information on the LaGrangeChamber.com website and just have a little brief, but probably the most current information will always be on Facebook.
And I'm sure those two venues are also the best places for people to go to learn about all the other events that the Troop Chamber
yes, we have a community calendar, and so if you have out-of-town guests for a weekend or just wondering what to do, you can click and open up that weekend, and we have all kinds of things. Actually, May the 3rd, we have a Chick-fil-A run. We also have March of Dimes walk. We have a community walk for our new downtown historic walking tour. We have a Roman army encampment at Explorations in Antiquity. I mean, any weekend, as you know, with the lake, there's just always something going on.
There's always something going on.
Yes.
So definitely visit the Troop LaGrange Chamber of Commerce's Facebook page and their website for the community calendar. You can find all sorts of events that are going on here in the Troop County LaGrange area. And please, please come out to the powerboat racing there at Pine Road Park, which give us the dates and times one more time. Laura.
It's May 9th through the 11th, so Friday afternoon, drop in. There'll be trial races or practice from 3 to 6, and then Saturday from 10 until 5, and Sunday 10 until 4.
Laura, I really appreciate you being here on the show today and giving us all this great information about the powerboat races that are coming up. So once again, Laura Jennings from the Troop LaGrange Chamber of Commerce, we want to thank you for being here today, and we will be right back after these messages. Hello and welcome back. Joining me now is Rebecca Fink, Park Ranger with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So you came here to West Point Lake a month and a half ago?
Yes.
And so you are taking over some fairly busy programs, particularly for the spring and early summertime. And one of those programs that you are kind of taking over and taking the lead on are the education programs.
Absolutely. The education programs that we have available that I'm going to be starting to do more in depth with is getting out to the schools to do some water safety programs, to do some environmental talks, whether it be about nature, some of the wildlife that comes through, and bring that back a little bit towards the lake. A lot of people that I go to the schools and talk with have been to the lake or haven't been to the lake. They come out here on the weekends with their family, and this kind of shows them, especially during the spring and summer when kids are starting to get out of school, we get a lot of people that need to learn about the water safety. The kids can be the heroes in a circumstance where you need to save your family member. They need to know how to wear a life jacket properly. And
sure, water safety is one of those very, very important programs for us here at West Point Lake, that we try to work a water safety message into almost everything we do. And so I understand that that's a very, very important program. Is there an age limit on a water safety program? I mean, is anyone ever too young to hear a water safety message?
Absolutely not. We get a lot of kindergartners, preschoolers can even learn about water safety. We can make it fun. It's not just always a talk. It can be an activity of some kind that really gets them to think about water.
In fact, it's probably better to start with the younger children and try to kind of develop a culture of water safety when they're younger.
Absolutely. And we get a lot of people that don't know how to swim. And those are people that are adults like you and I and older that are they're scared of the water and they just don't want to be involved in recreational activities because they don't want to be near it.
So those water safety programs that you do, I know you mentioned going out to schools and doing those, but I'm sure people can probably come to the lake and get a water safety program fairly close to the water as well.
Oh yeah, we have 9 shelters that can be reserved for people to come out, do programs. The rangers like myself can go out and do water safety programs. Then you can enjoy the rest of your day by the water and doing picnicking, or maybe you're out there just doing hiking on the bird trails. And those shelters are available as long as they're not reserved ahead of time. You can reserve those all through the year.
And then if somebody doesn't reserve it and you just happen to show up that day, then I guess it's just a first come, first serve.
You can use the shelter. It is first come, first serve. If you're planning in advance, I'd recommend, especially during the spring and summer, we get a lot of other families that just kind of walk in, they picnic, or maybe they're out there fishing. You might want to reserve that shelter ahead of time just so you know it's yours.
So I know you've been doing a lot of school programs here the last few weeks, and what I find interesting about the school programs is that it kind of ties in almost with volunteer service projects as well. And not only do you have this huge program in school programs, but then you've got this huge volunteer program as well. And so I've seen you do several cleanup service projects with school groups, as well as giving them a water safety program or an environmental talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about some of the volunteer projects that you may have already done or that you have coming up that you're working on with groups. Just give people an idea of kind of what there is that you can do out here volunteer-wise.
During the spring and summer, we get a lot of groups that work with the bluebird houses that we have. We have over 120 bluebird houses around the project here to kind of promote the bluebirds. There was a time where bluebirds were very uncommon. Now, surprisingly and very gratefully, this program has taken off thanks to volunteers being able to go out to a park, have that park be theirs, and monitor those specific bluebird houses. Sometimes it is a family that is doing this, and sometimes it's a school group that's doing this. We have right now those bluebird houses. We need those volunteers to come out and look at them. We have a lot of trash pickup that is needed around the lake as we get a lot of water that's coming down from the Atlanta area and starts to litter up our banks. Of course, unfortunately, the water on the lake will start to get high. Those trash pickup sites are no longer going to be available.
I imagine those are probably the more difficult programs to schedule, because you have to know ahead of time where the trash is and where the groups are coming from, and then if it rains, then the water's going to move the trash around. You got to go find it again. I mean,
yeah, the trash can move within hours. Sometimes you only get 1 or 2 days in advance where we're going to actually be doing the trash pickups. We need a lot more volunteers to do our summer programs on the beaches. And I'm really encouraging people that are in college or in high school that are interested in doing teaching in the future. They can come out and work with me and give these programs as well.
Yeah, that'd be a great learning opportunity for someone who might be a prospective educator to come out and get some experience in their off time presenting and helping present some of these programs. You had mentioned that you had a couple of specific volunteer positions that you were interested in recruiting for. One had something to do with some beach work, and one was one of our day use areas?
Our day use areas and our beach work, we have our mascot, Buddy the Beaver.
Buddy Beaver,
Buddy the
yes.
Beaver, who will hopefully be seen on our beaches more frequently this summer if we can get some of those extra volunteers to come out and promote Buddy the Beaver. We can walk around the beaches. We also have a availability at Earl Cook this coming summer where we need park attendants to work a 4-day on, 4-day off shift where they stay at the beach site and they do their monitoring.
So that's a volunteer unpaid position that we
Correct.
have available. So with that position, a 4-on, 4-off rotation, but I'm assuming there's a campsite there with water, electric, sewer hookup and all that?
Yes, yeah, so we would recommend during the 4 days that you're not going back and forth from your home and driving out at 7 o'clock in the morning, but we would require you to be on our site that we have available, that will
For
have
those 4
electric,
work days.
that will have sewer available for those 4 days, and then
Okay.
you have the option of either staying on your 4 days off or you can go home.
And there's probably not a number, like it has to be 2 people or it can only be 1 person. I mean, it could be a single person or it could be a couple.
For
Is
the
that-
volunteer position that we have, it can be an option if you want to bring a spouse with you to do this, or it's just by yourself.
I mean, that's a really good opportunity for someone to get here on the lake, to get a campsite for probably just a fairly minimal amount of work.
Absolutely. We get a lot of people that are doing camping through the summer that might stay here for a couple weeks at a time. Of course, we know that there's a limit to how long you can stay at our campgrounds. You have to 14 days, and then you have to be gone for another month at a time before you can come back and reuse those 14 days. So having a volunteer position and staying and manning at Earl Cook, for example, you'd be able to stay there for a couple months at a time.
Well,
if you were to choose
I was
to do
just
so.
getting ready to ask, what is the time frame on that Earl Cook volunteer position? Isn't it something like early May to somewhere around Labor Day? Is
Labor
that-
Day, yep. So those are the dates that we typically have our beaches open.
Okay.
So
And
it would
so-
be the early May, I believe the 3rd of May until the Labor Day.
So it's a volunteer project that really is a couple of 3 months long, in fact. So
Yeah.
that's, if we have people that are interested in either an education program, a volunteer project, either the Bluebirds or the Earl Cook position, how can people get a hold of you, Rebecca, to either ask more questions or to inquire about signing up for some of these either education programs or volunteer projects?
Well, you can contact me directly at my office at 706-645-6113, or you can email me at rebecca.m.fink@usace.army.mil.
Okay, so either telephone or email would be
Telephone
a
or
great
email
way.
would be
So
perfect.
I wanted to just get your name and telephone number in there real quick in case we had people watching that were, yeah, I want to do that, or oh, we really need to sign up for a volunteer program.
Yeah, if you
So-
want volunteer opportunities, if you want to come out and do something for the lake, as far as cleanup, please contact me, Rebecca Fink, at 706-645-6113, or email me at rebecca.m.fink@usace.army.mil.
Now, I wanted to cover one additional item with you while you were here today. One of your other programs that you're running is the special event program. And with the weather warming up, with spring coming around, the water temperatures are coming up, there are a lot of fishing tournaments out here on the lake. Isn't there a process for people that, you have to get a permit to have a fishing tournament on the lake, is that correct?
Yes, we have many sites, properties, not just parks that have access to the water, but the campgrounds as well. Now, if you're at either of those, there are a few that are needed. You have an honor vault system where you are required to pay a $3 fee or a discounted fee depending on your passes that you might have, America the Beautiful or an annual pass. Pay that fee and put the sticker or tag on your vehicle. If you're planning on coming out with a fishing group that's over 10 boats, we recommend you to contact either myself or somebody else in the office to get a permit for that. And all the permit is doing is telling us that you're using our land so that we can monitor maybe how much harvest is going to be coming out of the water. And if you or getting a permit, you still have to pay those honor vault fees. You still have to pay the you still have to get that pass. If you're at that specific boat ramp that's going to require it, you still need to get those passes, even though you have a permit saying you're doing the tournament. That's just for us.
I imagine you're also very careful not to try to schedule 2 very large tournaments on the same day at the same place. So folks can probably use the same telephone numbers for special events to contact you that you gave earlier, and email addresses. We also have people who they want to ask about weddings and reunions and all those. Some of those would need to contact you as well for a special event permit.
Yeah, so any of those permits that are needed at any of the shelters or the boat access ramps need to come through me. And we have a lot of biking that happens, a lot of marathons, a lot of Olympic events that go around the lake as well. We get weddings, birthday parties. You can reserve shelters to do that, but if you plan on doing that in advance, you need to get a hold of myself or another ranger at our office.
And we're trying not to double schedule items. I mean, I know, because I've looked at the schedule, that you have a big bike race coming up in the next month. You have a big triathlon coming up in the next month, and we really want to avoid double scheduling items on those days.
Right, and if it's coming through me, I'm going to know exactly what's happening on that day, and I can let you know for sure if that's going to be available or not, or maybe I can give you another shelter, nicer one, maybe another one just around the park that will be used.
Sure.
So that you're not conflicting activities.
You've also been doing, and if people have been watching the show here the last couple of months, they've heard me kind of give our Facebook page at the end of our show and saying, hey, like us on Facebook. Rebecca, you actually are one of them that's running the Facebook page for the Army Corps of Engineers. Tell folks, just before we go to the next break, what that Facebook page is, how folks can access it on the internet, and what all information you post there.
Absolutely. So this is a Facebook page that is open to the public, meaning you don't actually need to be registered through Facebook to see our page, but you can search for it in the web icon or the search engine, and that's www.facebook.com/West Point Lake, and then you have to put a period, a dot, USACE. And that's going to send us directly to the Army Corps Facebook page for the West Point Lake, because there is another one out there that's managed by lakesonline.com, and unfortunately they don't have the same information going up on their page. If you come to our page, it's got an Army Corps of Engineers red castle symbol on it as its profile picture.
Okay.
And you can look on there. We tell you about prescribed burns that are going on through the area, special events that are coming up, volunteer opportunities, just pictures of families enjoying the lake, and you can caption yourself. And we throw a lot of news feeds out there about road closures as well.
It's a fantastic page and a very, very up-to-date page. And I just want to take this opportunity to say you're doing a fantastic job with that Facebook page. I try to look at it every day to see what you've posted there, and it's always a treat to see all of our visitors having fun, posting pictures to our Facebook page. So, Rebecca, I want to thank you for all the work that you do on that Facebook page, and I want to thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you.
So, one last time, give us your telephone number for special events and programs.
It's Rebecca Fink at 706-645-6113, and that's my direct office number. Or you can email me at rebecca.m.fink@usace.army.mil.
Rebecca, thank you for being on the show, and stay tuned. We've got a little bit more to come right after the break. Welcome back. I want to thank my guests for being on the show today. We had Laura Jennings with the Troop LaGrange Chamber of Commerce telling us about the powerboat races that will be coming up on West Point Lake on Mother's Day weekend. And I want to thank Rebecca Fink, Park Ranger with the Army Corps of Engineers, for being here today. If you have any questions about any of the topics that we discussed today, please visit us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/westpointlake.usace.